Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this new edition of Sartorial Talks. Today, I have the great pleasure to receive one more time at this table in our home in Bourgogne, France, my friend Alexis Lafont, the founder and soul of the great shoe brand Caulaincourt. Hello, Alexis, how do you do?
Hi, thank you for getting me once again.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. I have a question. Why are you dressed like that? This is strange. Yeah, okay.
Same question.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we can explain to you. It's just because, first of all, Alexis and myself, we love robes. We do love robe. I love to wear my robe. Oh, we say dressing gown, I think in the UK, and you say robe in the US. In French, we say robe de chambre, literally room robe, something that you wear inside your home. You can go outside like that, but it's another trip, let's say. So we know some people, specifically the person who create this specific robe is called Alexandre Chapelier, our friend from Cinabre in Paris. And he's so in love with his robes, and I love his job. You can see it's magnificent, velvet and some toile de Jouy. It's very specific. And Alexandre loves to wear this either in black tie events, which I can imagine doing this, but also to go outside to the grocery shop or to the baker. And of course, some people are noticing him. Is this guy just out of the bed? This is very strange.
This is the true Parisian soul, I think.
Exactly. So we love that, and we wanted to show you how it can be beautiful. But why are we wearing dressing gown or robes today? It's because we're going to talk about a subject that you asked. I received so many questions about this subject, and I've been browsing the internet. Nobody is really answering these questions, so I asked my friend Alexis to come over and to try to answer this very, very critical and crucial question is, I order a shoe on the internet. How can I be sure that it's my size? How can I be sure when I try it for the first time that it's exactly the shoe I need in terms of size, in terms of shape, of last, as we say? How can I be sure about that? Because so many people are so anxious. When they put on, a loafer, for example, they're very, very stressed to say, is that good enough? I'm a little bit tight at the beginning. Will the leather expand a little bit? So these are all these questions, and as it's his idea, not mine. When he said to me, Hugo, you know that we both like dressing gown because we find this so gentlemanly, so elegant, but at the same time, it's not very easy to wear in everyday life. So he said to me, why don't we do this in dressing gown? Because we are talking about a subject where people has to deal with the shoes at home.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We were dressing like we dress at home. This is the reason why we are so happy, because we are defender of the dressing gown. So, First question, are there a few general ideas about, I receive a pair of shoes at my home, what are the first 2-3 ideas that I can use to make sure it is my size and I don't have the impulsion to send it back immediately to the vendor?
Yeah, because sometimes shipping back straight away is a mistake.
Yes.
So we're going to figure out how to be more efficient in taking the right decision when it comes to getting shoes delivered at home.
Yes. We are all here, my friend. Everybody wants to know where to check, what to do, and what are your advices, given the fact that this gentleman has been selling shoes to thousands and thousands and thousands of gentlemen, so he has an enormous experience of that subject. And this is why we decided today to gather all this experience, and you have some kind of guide on how to make sure.
Yeah, and trying to make it quite easy to understand.
So let's start from the beginning. If there's something,
even if it's 60, it's going to be a few minutes.
A few minutes here. People who are looking at this channel, they know a few minutes is impossible. But that's something else.
Well, the first thing is, I think all the professionals will agree about the fact that it's almost impossible to be sure that the size you have ordered online is going to be the good one.
Yes.
So now all the question is making sure that it's the good one when you're able to try them at home. So we are going today to try to replace the staff we have in store to guide you and to assist you in the choice of the relevant fitting and the relevant shoe, relevant sole, welt, everything. So
to clarify what you just said, many people have this question in mind at the moment they order. How can I make sure it's my size? What we're going to talk about today is not about this, is that when you receive the shoe that you ordered, and I know a serious shoemaker like you have a lot of softwares and how do you say, charts to try to see the correspondence between the size. But that's not the subject of our video. Let's say that I was in contact with you. I ordered this pair of shoes. Okay, and you advise me to say, okay, if you do an 8 in, I don't know, Crockett and Jones, you will do an 8.5 at my, or will you be a 9 on another company? So that's what let's say we did this, and then I don't live in France or in Paris. I received the shoe, okay, and now what we're going to talk about is how can I make sure it is my size by trying on the shoe.
Exactly.
And this is very crucial because you can decide at this moment whether you're going to send it back or you're going to keep it. And most of the time, people make a lot of mistakes.
Exactly. That's why we're going to bring a lot of value to the people today.
Let's go.
So let's go. First, we have to understand that in a real shoe, what we call a soulier in French, because in French we have two ways of...
We always make things a little bit more complicated. You say a shoe.
Defining a shoe could be a soulier, which is a handmade, beautiful shoe, and a chaussure, which is just a shoe.
Just a shoe.
So let's talk soulier.
Okay.
In a soulier, in a shoe, you have two rigid parts on the shoe, inside the shoe. Mm-hmm. You have this here at the back of the shoe, and you have a hard part here at the front of the shoe. Yeah.
This is here. This is the front of the shoe.
This is called the hard toe.
Yeah.
And here it's exactly the same, but at the back. Okay. So it's some kind of rigid material that could be in leather, which is like in between the upper, which is the outside part of the shoe, and the lining, which is the inside part of the shoe, both being leather. Okay?
Of course.
So it's like the ham in a sandwich, to be very simple.
Exactly.
These two rigid parts are not going to enlarge and are not going to move. It's going to stay rigid forever. Because this is the goal of these specific two parts of the shoe.
So you mean this part and this part
are not going to move.
If you feel bad on the front here and on the side here, it's not your size, basically. Because every shoemaker will say, don't worry, the leather
shoe is going to enlarge.
And the leather is going to be more flexible by time, but not here and not there.
Otherwise
it's not a real shoe.
Yeah, exactly. It's a total truth or total lie, depending on the spot we are talking about. Okay. If we're talking about the back or the front of the shoe, it's never going to move. So when someone is telling you it's going to enlarge, it's not the truth.
It's a lie. Okay.
But on the other hand, you have to be tight here because this is the part where the leather is very flexible. Because
so you mean when you say here is where your foot is the largest, the widest possible.
Exactly. So when you touch the leather here, you have to feel that there is no empty space or room. Okay. Yeah. So your foot has to fulfill the volume of the shoe.
Yes.
To be close to your feet.
Yeah.
In this part here,
because this part will move.
Yes, exactly, and that's all the secret is here. This is going to move here. Yeah. It's never going to move here. It's never going to move here.
I understand.
So here, if you feel a little tight, it may be all right.
It can even be a good sign. In some kind of shoes, we'll see later.
Because there is a little trick to know. Yeah. But perhaps we can talk about this right now. Yeah. If your feet is fulfilling correctly the volume of the shoe, the wrinkles are not going to be able to go down too much. Okay. So the wrinkles are going.
You mean the wrinkles is when you walk with it makes wrinkles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And so if you feel the shoe really, so you will have you will have wrinkles, of course.
Of course, because this is an alive material.
Yeah, but not too much. That's what you say.
You're going to contain the wrinkles, so your shoe is going to last beautifully throughout the years, because you're not going to see the leather moving too much.
Okay. So the first lesson, the first trick is to say, make sure you feel
the shoe here. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, by the way, Sonia just told us that we don't say wrinkles, we say creases. Is that correct? Creases? Yeah. Remember, we're just French, so we make the effort to speak in English, but we say pli in French. So I thought it was the same word, but you understand wrinkle, but it's creases. Okay.
Yeah. So to maintain a good creases balance, you have to fulfill correctly the shoe here. Okay, but never ever be tight at the back or at the front.
So when you go to a shoe shop,
and
when you go to a shoe shop, you see the assistant or the clerk or the seller. I remember when I was a boy, it was a woman, I remember very well, and my mom always wanted to buy me quality shoes, and she was doing two movements. She was doing this,
which is the right one.
Which is the right movement. Yeah. But she was doing this, which is not the right movement. It depends when it's not as hard. But basically on a shoe like that, and then on many, let's say, quality shoes, this is has no effect.
This is supposed to be very hard. So you cannot touch, you cannot press it.
So if you feel bad at the front, and if you have some pressure here, it's probably not your size.
Exactly. Your toes, if you want to just remember something, your toes has to be able to make a little piano.
D'accord.
Okay.
I'm doing it right now. Yeah, I can do piano, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's let's say it, and this two things goes for any kind of shoes, right?
Yeah, this is pretty much the truth for any kind of shoe, including the sneakers.
Okay. So now let's go to a loafer. We know that this is probably, I don't know if it's the case for Caulaincourt, your company, but I can feel that in many, many areas of the world, this is not maybe the best seller, but something which is selling more and more because it's the fusion between formal and casual.
It's very much in fashion right now for this reason. Yeah.
It's the case also in France, in your business. So you told me that on the loafers, many people think that it's easier because it's just a loafer. After all, it's easy. And you told me that finding it's the most complicated. So explain to us why.
It's the most tricky one because you don't have any laces to adjust the fitting.
Okay.
So you don't have any flexibility about closing or opening.
Yes.
So in a loafer, you have two pressure points.
Yes.
You have to feel good inside.
Okay.
The first one is here in the instep, and the second one is here on the heel.
Okay.
This distance here has to feel good with your feet.
Okay.
It has to be tight, but not too much. If it's too tight, it's not going to be comfortable because you're not able to gain any room because you have no laces.
Okay.
On the other hand, if it's too big, you're not going to be able to close or to close more the fitting of the shoe, of the last. So the shoe is going to leave you forever.
Okay.
Okay. But perhaps now we can talk about something that most of the people do not know. In a shoe, you're not supposed to be very, very tight at the back of the shoe.
Okay, that was my question coming in my head because so many people say when you try a loafer for the first time, it has a tendency of doing this with you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, and many people say, oh, it's doing this, and it's to say it's not sticking to your heel. Literally, it does this a little bit at the beginning. Not totally, of course. This means
if
the
it
shoe is
leaves,
too big.
If the shoe is leaving your feet, there is obviously a problem. But it has to move a little bit.
If it's moving a little bit, this is what creates the pain most of the time for the people. You said to me that if it's leaving a little bit, it's rather a good sign than a bad sign. Explain to us why.
Yes, exactly. To put it very simply, 100% of my personal loafers in my personal collection, I can remove the shoe without touching the shoe with my hand.
Okay.
You understand what it means?
Yes, of course.
The reason why is when it's brand new, you have to be able to put your finger here and have the room to get only the first part of your finger, the pinky. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So it means if there's this kind of room between your foot and the back of the shoe, it can be okay, and it's mainly okay.
Yeah. Not talking about putting your whole finger. Okay,
I understand. Just the first.
Just the beginning. Why? Because you have to understand that when you get a shoe, any shoe at home, it's brand new. It's going to be the most rigid version of this shoe.
Yes.
Because the shoe is going to evolve. And in store, if you are willing to do a good job, you're going to explain to the customer what the shoe is going to
be in 6 months, in 1 year, in 2 years.
But if you're alone in your living room with your robe, it's going to be difficult to know this, because you cannot project the fitting in 6 months. So what you have to understand, which is when you have understood this is very easy. The shoe is brand new, meaning the sole is flat. And somehow a little rigid. So when your heel is moving up, when you intend to walk, the shoe is not going to follow your heel movements.
It will resist.
Why? It will resist because the sole is brand new, so it's going to keep flat.
Okay.
So it's going to enhance a little movement at the back, and this movement is going to disappear with a few hours of
so
wearing
you mean
the
that
shoes.
Little by little, the sole will adapt.
It's going to be more flexible, so it's going to follow more naturally your heel when you walk.
I understand.
So if you have a little movement at the back at the beginning, this is not a problem, because it's going to disappear with time.
Okay.
So you have to be able to anticipate this move of the shoe.
But this is very important, because so many people, this is the first thing that I look at is if it's moving a little bit too much, I have the impression. And so your advice is that this pinky key, you can be able to put one depending on the size of your finger, because some people have big fingers, some people small. Let's say, as in a nutshell, like that, rule of the thumb, if I might say, for a pinky. So you can do that. And then little by little, as the sole will not remain flat totally, it will accompany you, and little by little it will
become more flexible, so it's going to
But one more time, we say a little space, not a big space. That means, of course, it's not your size.
You have to feel a little move at the back.
Okay.
Just a little move.
Okay, what else can you say about how to try a loafer?
It's important that you anticipate another thing. Loafers nowadays are getting more and more flexible. Why? Because people are used to sneakers, used to comfort, and they're really willing to get the.
For example, this one is online. This is really easy.
This is made to be like a glove on your feet.
Yes.
And the market is going this way more and more.
Comfort. Yeah.
So you have to anticipate this as well. Meaning the shoe is such a flexible thing.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to get these shoes very close to your feet when it's brand new, because otherwise when it's going to leave, it's going to enlarge too much, and then the shoe is going to be too big.
Okay.
So there are solutions for too big shoes, but
like putting some extra soles or stuff like that inside.
You can do many things, and I could answer myself the questions if your followers are willing to ask more questions. I would be happy to answer. But the thing is, if the shoe like this is too big, you don't have any laces, so it's going to be a problem to close when it's going to be too large. And moreover, most of the not most of the time, but very often, slippers like this or loafers are in suede. Why?
Yes.
Because this is a less formal shoe.
Yes.
So suede is more like sporty shoe.
Yes.
And the suede, be careful, if you're not fitting enough the shoe, the creases that are going to appear when you walk.
Be crazy. And you can two colors.
Exactly. It's going to put some lines, clear lines on the leather, which is most of the time unlikely to happen. Okay, it's not beautiful. Yeah. So why is it happening? Because when the leather is going to get down like this, if there is too much room or volume inside the shoe, the leather is going to stand up like a wave, two waves, and the top of the two waves are going to touch each other.
Okay.
And with time, it's going to produce a line on the leather, and then this is the reason why many times you will see some bad creases marks on your suede shoes. Okay. It's because the shoe you've taken it too big at the beginning. There is too much space, empty space inside the shoe.
So you are telling us that as a loafer has no laces, by definition, the fitting has to be better than any laces shoes, just because you will not be able to play with the tension of the laces. So you say you can leave a little pinky because little by little the shoe will conform to your foot. And you also told me that this is the part that has to be very close to the shoe. Is that correct?
This part from here to here.
Yeah, it has to be very close to the foot.
It has to be like a glove.
And even if at the first time you put your foot on, you feel a little bit, I mean, if you feel it's very close, it's rather a good sign.
Yes, and you have a way to be sure of it.
Tell us, please.
This way, it could appear very like stupid, but it really works. Mm-hmm. Before getting to any conclusion, take, I would say, I think 5 minutes is enough, but let's take 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Just keep your feet inside the shoe for 15 minutes. Okay, take an iPad or whatever. You can walk a little bit, but just keep the shoe with you on your feet and wait, because your feeling is going to evolve. Okay. Your feeling is going to evolve because softly the shoe is going to evolve as well. Okay. Of course, a supple shoe is going to evolve faster than a very rigid one like this one, for example. But it's going to give you more information. And most of the time, if you have the feeling that it may be too small, if you wait 15 minutes, perhaps your feet is going to talk to you and say, well, wait a little bit, I'm feeling better now. Okay. And you have to listen to this. The very first feeling is not the good one. The good one is the one after 15 minutes. 15 minutes, okay. Yeah. Because of maybe also it's about how there's something about the temperature, I suppose, probably between the shoe and the foot. But that's a long story. Because we haven't talked about this in the French version of this video. Because we recorded the French version just before this one. Yeah, but there's something interesting about the moment you're trying the shoes on. Yeah. If you do it in the morning, like when you just woke up, it's not a good idea because your feet is bigger. Yes. You have this feeling when you get when you land, when you're in a plane. Your feet most of the time is like you have the feeling it's double volume. Yes. So not to that point, but when you wake up, your feet most of the time is bigger. Yeah. So in my opinion, the best moment is from, like, let's say 3 or 4 hours after you woke up. Yes. And so that is for me 5 in the afternoon. I'm just kidding. Yeah. And me 5 in the morning. Yes, exactly. And until let's say the dinner time, because after your feet is going to be a little tired and it's going to move again. Okay. So yeah, this is very important, and this is tricky as well. This is tricky as well. Yeah. So remember, on the loafer, if you can put a pinky at the back, it may be still your size. Don't immediately send them back, because you need this little time of adaptation. Yeah. And globally, the feeling has to be quite, not tight, but very close to the foot at the beginning, because this shoe will enlarge for sure. Yeah. So if it's too big at the beginning, it will never become smaller. Exactly. So it's not your size. But on the contrary, it will become a little bit larger, so it can be interesting. So let's talk, for example, now about a boot. Yeah. Can we take a boot? So I just tell you, it's a little, not product placement, because the man is here, but these are all Caulaincourt creation. I'm here to help, not to sell. This is a Caulaincourt creation. I like those shoes, so you can see what this man is creating as shoes as very stylish and very different, to say the least. And this boot is absolutely beautiful. So it's Stormwell by Vibram, as I can see. It is a beautiful boot. So you told me that the most crucial part on how to know if a boot is your size is the upper part, this part. Not really to know if the boot is your size, but the thing is, many people are very afraid that the boot at the top is not very close to the ankle. Okay. Which is a mistake. If the boot is too close to your ankle, it's going to cut you everywhere, which is not a good idea, because the shoe is going to win. Okay. I can tell you right now. Yeah. Shoes always win. Yeah, always. Yeah. So, you have to respect the shoe so it doesn't go wrong. Yeah. here, this part has to leave you a little volume, so your ankle is able to move.
So in this way and in this way, you have to be comfortable, basically.
You have to have you need space so your leg is able to move without the leather, which is too close to your ankle, because otherwise it is going to cut you. So if you have a little room here, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's very interesting, because I saw so many people.
It's not too big.
Yeah. Of course, if it's way too big, you can fit it immediately.
Yeah.
But you have to have a little bit of space here.
Exactly.
So that your leg can move inside the shoe. Yeah. Let's go to a derby now.
The derby here.
This is a good derby, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure that some people, even in America, they can be very interested by that, because that's a sturdy shoe, ladies and gentlemen. I love it, and it's absolutely beautiful. So a derby, for the people who are not maybe in the semantics of shoe, is the difference between an Oxford, which is the line for closing the laces, is just a cut in the middle, whereas here we have two pieces of leather that are coming above in order to make the lacing a little bit more comfortable and easier. And so many people think that if you have a big foot, derbies are better for you. I know you don't agree with that, because it's not about it's a mistake in your opinion. I may have said this in the past, so I can apologize if I did wrong. But you told me that the crucial part to know if a derby fits you or not is this part. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
This one.
So this is the distance you have between these two stitches.
Yes.
Here is not going to move. Never,
it will stay the same.
Never, ever.
It will never enlarge.
If your instep is too big for this volume here, it's going to
push
you too much. Yeah. And because here, it's never going to move.
Yeah.
So your instep is going to produce a little, if I may, a little push here.
Yes.
And you're going to have, let me show you this way. If it's too small, the shoe is going to do this.
Okay.
It's going to make this crease.
That's
here.
not beautiful.
If you have this crease here with a derby, it means that the shoe is too small for you, and it's never ever going to move and become comfortable.
Okay.
So this is really the trick, and you have to know this, because derby here you have to feel like a glove the shoe on your instep, otherwise it's never going to work.
And then the same advice that goes for that is to say, this part has to be fitted, etc. That is the two advices you gave at the beginning goes for every kind of shoe. Is that correct?
Yeah. The rigid parts is for any shoe. Yeah.
I love these derbies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna think about it. I really like that. I think it's bulky, but it's stylish at the same time. That's a very you really.
I'm happy to see it, because this is exactly what I intend to do.
It's a new model in your collection.
It's I think it's 12 or 16 months old now.
Okay. So it's a baby.
Yeah. It's still a baby, and the idea is to get something bulky, but with something still Parisian.
Yeah, different. Let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. And
now
the
Oxford. The Oxford, you have only one cut here. So you have more room to play. You have the laces, and you don't have these two stitches here that we have on the derby. So it's going to be more easy. One little mistake most of the people are making about the Oxford is if they intend to get the shoe without any pain.
Yeah.
Especially for the people who have worn a lot of sneakers.
Yes.
They really wish or want to be like very comfortable right now.
Yeah.
So most of the time, the bad behavior is to choose a shoe which is too big.
Yes.
And if it's too big on an Oxford, you're going to have too much volume here, which is going to produce huge creases.
Yes.
And the creases are going to hurt your feet, because they're going to get down to your feet very deeply.
Yes.
Second thing is about the V here.
Yes.
It could do like this if your instep is a little bit too big compared to the length or the width of the shoe.
Yeah. So it has to be a reasonable V, let's say.
Yeah, a reasonable V is okay like this, which is not okay
when it goes like that.
What is not okay if a real V is too much.
But if it's a little bit, why not? I'm part of the people who are I wish in all my shoes that the V is totally closed because
Okay.
it's my taste.
Yeah.
You told me that it's a more question of
I'm
taste.
on the other side.
Yeah. From some bespoke shoemakers said that it's a sign of a bespoke shoe when it's totally closed. Alexis said, well, sometimes it's a stylistic statement. Some people like a little V. I know Paolo Scafora, for example, in Napoli, he likes a little V, even on the Oxford.
Yeah.
But it's a question of taste.
Exactly. But the thing is, do not think that because you have a small V, the shoe is not for you. This is wrong. A little V is okay. It doesn't matter. The thing is, you have to fulfill correctly the shoe here and here.
Okay.
If you do this in an Oxford, it's going to be perfect. And the V has nothing to do with it. The V is if you have a very strong instep.
Yes.
The more the instep is going to be big, the widest your V is going to be. So
okay.
A V which is too open is not good, but a V which is quite
slightly open,
is not a problem at all.
Okay. So in this shoe, basically, it's all about you have to feel it F-I-L-L, not F-E-E-L. You have to feel that there's not too much room here, and this is the critical part is here, right? So that you really have to feel
here
the space
and the instep here.
Okay. Is what you told us about the loafer applies also to an Oxford, even though there's some laces? If there's a little space at the back, no, it's different for
No. You have to feel that little space in any shoe.
Any shoe. Yeah.
If you don't feel it, it means the shoe is too small.
Okay.
If you cannot move at all, starting when you're going to walk with the shoe, you're going to feel too much pressure at the back.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, if you figure out this too late, you're going to keep the shoe because you cannot have an exchange because you have put some marks on the sole.
Of course.
You have to understand before you walk.
Yeah. Okay.
Before you really walk.
Yeah. And so if I'm... Okay. I understand everything. These are very good advice. Thank you very much for that.
You're
because
welcome.
these are very precise things on each kind of style.
It's very practical. You can really do it yourself at home. You can check all these points.
Yeah. Now the question is, I just ordered this shoe, let's say this one, for example, and I want to try them on, but I want to I want to feel good in them, so I will probably have to wear them a few hours, but I want also to always have the option to send them back. So on this kind of sole, it's less a problem because you see less, but still. So normally, when you try all that, you should try this on a carpet or at home and not taking a walk in the garden, of course.
This is obvious because otherwise you're going to put some marks on the sole in even a very, very small rock, very small stone
will damage
or whatever is going to put a huge mark on the sole.
Okay.
When we're talking about a leather sole, it's going to mark in a few seconds.
Yes. And so how
carpet or
carpet
anything.
only, carpet only. And you told me a little bit before we record this interview that even keeping the shoe on your feet even without walking can be a good thing also, right?
Yeah, it's going to give you the truth of the feeling. The truth of the feeling at the beginning is never the good one. I mean, could not be the good one.
Yes.
So you have to give a chance to the shoe to talk to your feet.
Yes.
So you have to force your feet to listen to the shoe.
Okay.
And to do this, my vision is keep the shoe on your foot for at least 15 minutes.
Yes.
And then you're going sometimes to feel the shoe differently. Because otherwise, at the very beginning, you can feel some fear because in the past you have had some pain on this area of the shoe. So here you're feeling the shoe close to your feet. You think... You make a kind of, that's the same game.
Yes.
But it's not. So just give a few minutes to the shoe to really talk to your feet without fear to interfere in the communication.
I can try to imagine American people looking at us, two French guys with a strong accent to say, you have to listen to your feet. I don't know who's going to understand
but we are
what
magicians.
we say. We are magicians, and our feet are talking in front. So maybe you didn't know that. So in a nutshell, if I take all your advices and try to put them into simple sentences, I think the first thing is patience, because I can see. I live in America a few months per year, so I understand very well how people behave, and I can look, and this is my job, so I look at their feet constantly. You still have a lot of work there, my friend, because this is not really good what I see, but I can feel that most of them are choosing shoes that are way too big for them. You can see it in the street. They're way too big.
You even see it on the photo shoot for fashion.
Yeah?
Most of the time, the models they have foot. It's not only the small finger you can put at the back.
You can put the whole fist. Yeah. So it means that, ladies and gentlemen, specifically if you're American, you may have this strange idea that when you put on a leather shoe, you're going to be immediately comfortable like you are in a pair of whatever, Crocs, whatever it is, these bizarre things in all plastic. So it's not a Croc, basically. It's a shoe. And what I want to say is that give it a little bit of time, and you will see after a breaking time, and we're going to speak about that to conclude that, after the famous or infamous break-in time, you're going to have a different experience, because a shoe in real leather, after this little challenging moment at the beginning where your sensation may not be exactly the same when you were wearing your disgusting Crocs, after a while you will feel so much better all of a sudden.
And it's going to be
so much, even your posture will improve.
And it's going to be more efficient and more comfortable than any sneakers or any shoe. Yeah. Like when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the plastic sneakers and the plastic shoes.
Of course.
This is going to be way much comfortable, because there's no plastics. It's only leather, so your foot or feet are going to breathe.
Yeah.
And if you give a chance to these objects, they are going to give it back.
Okay. And the famous break-in time. So I received my shoes. I followed all your advice. I'm sure it's my size. I feel good. I have a little pinky room at the back. I feel maintained here.
No pain at the front.
No pain at the front.
Piano at the front.
I can play the piano with my toes at the front. Okay, so no problem. I'm good. I decided to keep them. But I know there's a break-in time. Can I run outside and go to the office for 12 hours or maybe 8 hours, and because they are brand new, or do you advise to go a little bit slower? And so what's your advice on
there is no necessarily a breaking time.
Yes.
But take no risk.
Okay.
So the question is not about the shoe being comfortable right now, rather than the potential of comfort that the shoe is going to give you if you respect a few very easy and basic rules.
Okay.
The basic rule is to understand that this object is going to evolve.
Okay.
Meaning it's going to change when you wear it. It's going to adjust and to adapt to your fit.
Okay.
So give it a chance to adjust without hurting you. Because I don't know if you know, but the feet is one of the body spots where you have the most nerves.
Yes.
And the nerves are the communication
with the brain.
Yes. To express pain.
Yes.
And to defend the body against everything that can attack it.
Of course.
So if you push on your nerves, and for example, if you put a shoe like 12 hours the first day,
I receive them, I go directly to the office 12 hours.
Or your wedding, which is worst.
This is a problem for the wedding, because I've seen so many people having this problem. They have their wedding shoes, and they keep them for the wedding to be perfectly shiny and impeccable, and they spend the first 12 hours or maybe 20 hours.
This is the worst mistake you can.
This is an enormous mistake.
Ever
Don't do that.
No, never.
So how do I do?
Spend a few hours in your shoes. You don't necessarily need to walk with them. You can have dinner. You can watch TV or whatever. Play piano with your hands.
Yeah.
And toes.
Okay.
And give them a little room to move around your feet.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this from, like, let's say 3-4 times to 10 times, and then when you feel it, go outside, go for a 12 hours day, and it's going to work.
So your advice is, in terms of hours, is say 1 hour, 2 hours?
It's from 1 hour to 3 hours.
Yes.
And the thing
is, do this 10 times.
Exactly. And it's going to avoid that the shoe may hurt you. And if it hurts you, your nerves are going to remember the pain.
Of course.
And are going to yell at you when you put these shoes back
and he will yell,
onto your foot.
pain.
Exactly. So you have to play with your nerves, avoiding that they get this memory of the pain if it has to happen.
Of course.
So the best idea is not to manage the memory of the nerves. The best idea is to avoid the pain, which is same as avoid the nerves to express their feeling. Okay.
So you say 1 to 3 hours at home, not moving too much. You're going progressively, and this is for 10 days. Because I remember asking with Sonia to our friend Paolo Scafora, a very famous shoemaker in Napoli, Italy, about the breaking time. And he was talking about, like you have experiences of thousands and tens of thousands of shoes sold in his life. And he said that in his idea is 24 hours of actual wear, but maybe in slices of 2 hours, 3 hours to begin for. So it's pretty much the same thing. So remember this, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a shoe in leather, sometimes you don't need breaking times. I have examples, and Sonia know what I'm referring to, specifically with Scafora. It was a Scafora pair in a Norwegian stitching, a serious shoe. I put it on, and it was totally fine immediately. But if it's not, which is more likely, specifically if you are not used to leather shoes, it takes a little breaking time. So let them wear them 10 times 1 hour or 2 hours at home, at night, or inside your home, and you will see little by little, you will feel when it's the moment to go outside. And at this moment, you're going to experience something totally different, because you are the maintain the way, even it has a big effect on your posture. And this is extremely important. My grandfather was making shoes, so I know what I'm talking about, but this is something that is very, very important to understand. Anything else to add, my friend, about that?
Just a little trick. If you feel that the shoe may be okay, but perhaps it's a little bit too big.
Yes.
Rather than ordering half or a full size below, you can ask to a cobbler, or you can buy on the internet a leather insole, a removable leather insole, which is a thin leather insole.
It works very well.
You put it inside, and it's going to get some room out of the shoe.
Yes.
If we can say
it.
So.
It's gonna.
The length is going to stay the same.
Yes.
But the volume inside is going to be
to reduce a little bit. To be reduced. Yeah.
So then you may feel better this way, which is a very good solution to a situation where the shoe may be a little bit too big.
Okay. I've been using leather insole like that, and it works very well.
And sometimes
when it is a little bit too big, not too much, of course.
And sometimes there's something we haven't talked about, which is very important. I've experienced that there's very few people that know who know that we do have two different foot.
All of us. My left foot is bigger than my right. Yeah.
So sometimes you may need to adjust the left foot or the right foot, depending on the shoe or your foot or whatever. So using this removable insoles are a good tool to play with the volumes of the shoe, which are not going to be adjusted to your feet, because your feet are different and the shoe are not. To give you a little story to end this tutorial of how to fit correctly in brand new shoes, I do wear most of my shoes without socks, even in winter, which is meaning that when you know what you do, the shoes are really comfortable, and you don't need any anything else to then good tools to feel good in formal shoes.
I'm not sure people in Minnesota or the Washington State, when it's minus 20 outside, they will go wear their shoes barefoot. In any case, in this kind of weather, they will not wear this kind of shoes anywhere. They will wear something a little bit more dedicated to this kind of extreme leather. Thank you very much, Alexis. This was very interesting. So you can continue to ask those questions. Alexis said, don't worry, if you have questions about what I just covered, you can put it in the comment section and continue to ask questions. Are you ready to answer a few hundred questions? Because I know this is typically one of the subjects, specifically in America, in the USA, that are very interesting. So many times I receive comments saying, oh, these are European shoes. Me, I have big feet. I'm a tall guy. You know, I can't.
It has nothing,
you know,
to,
it has
do
nothing
with
to do with that.
Thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a misconception, right? Is that because once again you have this idea that with a big, first of all, you have a big foot, which is not necessarily the case. And secondly, you have this idea, strange idea, that it has to be room and spacey around, a lot of room around, so that you can. And I see so many people in the street. Their shoes are way too big for them.
And you know what's funny?
No.
Most of the time, men really think that their foot are bigger than what they really are.
Oh, yeah.
And this has
really?
to... Yeah, this is very... I think this is funny, but I'm not going to explain why.
Yeah, that's another story. We're not going too much. This is a sliding story. And I just want to show you people who think that they are too tall or too big to wear real shoes. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. This is a fantastic shoe that is going to be soon in my closet. Thank you very much, Alexis, for this beautiful conversation. You can still leave your question, your answers. He committed he's going to answer the question.
I'm going to answer. Yes? The thing is, perhaps you'll have to wait a few days or a few weeks, because I'm not going to do this every day.
Yes.
But I'm going to get back to the video from time to time to bring and to bring answers.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I think you provided us with good value information, which is based on your experience of thousands and thousands and thousands of people that you've been fitting with the shoes. And I hope this episode has been interesting for you and will be useful. So we give you an appointment to the next episode of Sartorial Talks. In the meantime, if you never try to buy leather shoes. It will change your life. See you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.
Bye.